All right. Also on what's brewing. Battlefields are getting smarter, and so is the tech behind them. Leading this defense tech revolution from India is Tonbo Imaging. The Bengaluru-based company has just raised 175 crore rupees in a Series D pre-IPO round backed by Florintree Advisors, Tenacity Ventures, and Export-Import Bank of India. The funds will power next-gen infrared sensors, directed energy systems, and autonomous warfare tech. With us now is the man behind it all, Arvind Lakshmikumar, founder and CEO of Tonbo Imaging. Arvind, welcome back to Startup Street. Now, Tonbo is gearing up for an IPO. How soon can we expect a listing? And what does this 175 crore rupee funding mean for you at this stage? And with new investors like Florintree and Tenacity on board, how do they align with your vision for growth?
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you for having me. It's good to be back. We're very glad for this investment from Florintree. Matthew Syriac is a very established tech investor. He's led investments in MTAR data patterns all at their growth stage and took them successfully public. So we're very glad to have Matthew backing us at this stage. The timing for the IPO would be towards the end of this year. We have finalized our bankers. JM Financial and IIFL Capital Markets will be our bankers for the deal. We expect to file our DRHP sometime in July, August, and we expect the IPO towards the end of the year. We are also grateful for the support of Export-Import Bank of India, who's been one of our very early bankers. They've backed us for a lot of our international programs. It's actually unusual for Exim Bank to actually be a participant in a private equity round. But they've been with us for a while, and this was a good opportunity for them to invest along with the Series D investors. And we are grateful to have them on board.
All right, Arvind, so you're looking to list by the end of the year. But talking about the fundraise, how will this funding fast-track your work in infrared sensors and directed energy systems? Are there any upcoming innovations or deployments we should watch out for?
So, Tonbo traditionally has been building electro-optics and imaging systems, which is the optical system, the computer vision systems, and the low-power imaging systems. Now, we had never touched the detectors, and we had not built end systems or end platforms, which are essentially replacements to traditional conventional munitions. So one of the things we set out to do was, we said we need to be able to push the envelope on building the detector stack, because today the detector is a component which is imported. It comes largely from US or Europe or Israel. And nobody in India designs and builds the detector stack. So one of the things we're doing to do right now with this capital is build new kinds of infrared detectors, very specifically in long-wave infrared and in short-wave infrared. So we have a lot of intellectual property in designing infrared detectors, and we intend to put this to good use in building these detectors. And the second thing we've set out to do was, we've always supplied our electro-optic systems to other people who integrated it into their platforms. We supplied it to Israel Aerospace Industries, we supplied to Bharat Dynamics. All of these people integrated into their missiles, integrated into their platforms. And one of the things we decided was that, look, we'd like to start making the end platforms. So we don't want to make the conventional munition platforms. We don't want to make loitering, and we don't want to make ATGMs, or we don't want to make the traditional missiles. Directed energy weapons are the next phase of battlefield warfare, because it allows you to take down large swarms of drones. And so that's something which we are investing in. And we think that's going to be the next frontier in defense.
All right. Your systems are deployed in over 30 countries, and like you just mentioned, including elite forces like the IDF and US Navy SEALs. How has that global traction shaped your R&D, Arvind, and how will this funding help you scale internationally?
So global traction is extremely important to move your R&D, because when you don't know what you don't know, right? And if you build only for the domestic market, or you build in a very small insular market, you just don't know how capable your systems are. So while Israel and the US, both the IDF, the Mossad, and the Navy SEALs, they are not a primary customer, we still chose to sell to them first, because we learned a lot from them, because you're able to experiment with the best of the best. You're competing with other companies who are building and supplying to them. And that allows you to fine-tune your R&D for your own domestic markets. So we find, selling internationally, because when you sell only in one country, it's the value of the blind, right? And the one-eyed person is a king. But when you sell in a globally competitive international market, where someone is buying from you, not because you're cheaper or not because of Make in India, but buying from you because you're the best that exists, that allows you to actually build better R&D. So, I think that's extremely important for any company coming out of India, that they do, strive towards global traction.
All right. Tonbo emphasizes autonomy and real-time battlefield intelligence. With global security threats becoming increasingly sophisticated, how are you preparing for the next frontier in defense technology? You touched upon this earlier, but what's in store?
So, in the past, battlefield was all about people, right? How many soldiers did you have on the battlefield? Then it moved towards, how many tanks do you have, how many submarines you have, how many fighter jets you have. But today's battlefield is changing a lot. Today's battlefield is all about how do you, inflict maximum damage with the least amount of damage or collateral damage to your own soldiers. So autonomy in the battlefield is extremely important, right? So our vision is to be able to assist, augment, and replace humans in the battlefield. So we are building all components of a stack which allows you to have enough intelligence in the battlefield. So whether it is, imaging systems to help soldiers fire remotely, whether it's loitering munition systems so that you don't have to have, be in the line of fire, or autonomous tanks, we essentially build a portfolio of technologies which enable autonomy in the battlefield. Because we think that the next set of wars, and that's what we're seeing right now in Ukraine, that's what we're seeing in Israel, are not going to be people on the field. They are going to be robots. They are going to be autonomous aerial vehicles. They are going to be autonomous munitions. And it's extremely important that India especially is self-reliant, where we own this technology for this autonomous stack.
All right. One final question before I let you go. It is a competitive and sensitive space globally. Where do you see the company 1 or 2 years down the line, and also any targets that you can share with us?
So, it is sensitive in terms of, globally, wars are not going away, right? There are different kinds of being fought. And one of the things which we are seeing right now is, in the past, a lot of emerging markets, our business is the emerging markets. In the past, the emerging markets depended on, technology from the US or Israel or from Russia. Now, one of the things they have realized is all these countries have their own battles to fight, and they can't be necessarily relied upon when these countries need to expand their technology or their arsenal. India is positioned interestingly because India is in the space where we've had great relationships with people in the East and in the West, and India is a great potential supplier to every country in the emerging market as they look to modernize. So the way we are looking at our global expansion is, we said, look, let's prove our technology in the developed market. And then let's make sure that everybody in the emerging market essentially can buy from you and buy from India, because they can buy a whole range of unrestricted technology from India.
Right, Anwar, with that, we'll have to wrap up our conversation. But many thanks for your time and joining us on Startup Street. And we'll surely keep a track of your IPO plans. Thank you.
Thank you, Shruti. Good to be here. Thank you.
Payments platform